Now it's recording.
Also, I'm going to record. We are alive. We are alive. And I am, come on, guys. Come on, some energy. We are alive. And we're super, super, super excited that we are here today on this special day, Valentine's Day, celebrating the men, the kings in the house. I say happy Valentine's Day to all the kings in the house and to all our viewers all over the world. My name is Margaret Thorley. I am the host, the CEO of Hope and Restoration, which is for non-profits. And today I want to say an incredibly special Valentine's Day to the three kings in the house. And of course, our special guest speaker, Dr. Patricia Rogers. And she's going to come and sum up everything today, what the kings are talking about today. But today, the day belongs to the amazing three kings in the house and all the kings to the world. So I'm going to take time out and I'm going to ask the kings, introduce yourself and where you're zooming from. So can I start with Daniel, please?
Thanks very much, Margaret. So my name's Darren Dzikowski, and I'm an emotional well-being coach. And I'm actually zooming from London, or just outside London. So what I do is, as you know, and anyone that has joined the Father's Talk Show knows that I specialize specifically around the process of letting go. The letting go of the emotional energy that we all carry as people, as humans, as adults, as fathers and as mothers. We all carry these tremendously heavy emotions, and they come out at different times during our lives, during business, when we're parenting, and when we're with our partners. And when we hold on to them and we don't find a way of releasing them, they affect our ability to have a relationship. And I'm here to help show people how to let go. That's what I do.
Thank you so much to that. The next one here, please, John.
Hello, everybody. My name is John. I'm based in Croydon, which is South London. And
hello, John.
I'm a media and video expert with over 25 years experience. And I'm coming to you from South London. That's it from me. So I'll pass you on to the next person. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, Lushen.
Yes, I'm Lushen Sutherland. I'm based in literally on the outskirts of London, right on the border of London and Hertfordshire, in a place called Waltham Cross. And I'm a graphic designer by profession. At the moment, I'm just in a place where I have a humble part-time job, and I do just little graphic design bits and pieces in my spare time. That's me in a nutshell, really. Just keeping it short and sweet.
Thank you. Awesome, thank you. I welcome my kings. Thank you so much for that. Now, guys, I'm going to ask you some amazing questions and just take your time. So each one of you got at least 2 minutes to answer. Okay, I want you guys, loads of men out there listening today, maybe sharing co-hosting. So those of you, how did you cope with sharing co-hosting, co-parenting? It's a good one. How did you cope, kind of co-hosting, co-parenting? How did you cope with co-parenting? What were your challenges? All right. What are what your challenges with co-parenting and how did you overcome those? Can I start with you, Daniel?
I had a feeling you were going to start with me. Right. Okay. So for me, co-parenting, I from the very first time I knew I was going to get divorced, I made an intention that I wanted the best possible outcome, and that I was going to love my ex-wife no matter what, because when you get divorced, all the stuff comes up. And I said to myself, anger came up, a lot of upset, all these emotions. And I said, okay, I want to love no matter what. So I made that choice. So that was the start. So, and from that point on, I undertook a journey where I had certain, feelings come up, and there was anger, there was upset. But for me, it was, as long as I set the intention to love my ex-wife, then I would find that that would be reciprocated. And so often that perhaps if there was a challenge, inevitably, if I let go, then we would come to some sort of mutual agreement about co-parenting. And yeah, so the more I let go, the more I was able to view my ex-wife from the eyes of love and be more compassionate, be more understanding, and also more compromising as well. So I was able to do that as a parent, and so we actually had very little conflict, because both of us wanted the best for our child as well, and that's the key. When you do that, when you set the intention, we both want the best for our child, so it becomes a lot easier to parent. So if there is any sort of stresses between the ex-partner and myself, leave that aside for a bit, let go, and let's concentrate on giving the best possible environment for our daughter to grow up in, to feel supported, to feel loved, even after the separation. So yeah, that was how I coped. A lot of meditation as well.
Thank you. That's really awesome. All right, Lushen, how did you, co-parenting? What were your challenges and how did you overcome them?
Okay, this one I had is just the answer that Daniel gave was like really, really powerful. Really powerful. Because I think even from a Christian purview, that's what Christianity is all about, is love. And one of the issues we see with the co-parenting is the issue is it's all about self, which love is void of self. And and that's where the problems arise, where people can't let go of themselves and basically love the other person. I just thought that was really powerful, because if everybody could do that in those situations, things would be so much easier. And in regards, going back to your question, Margaret, is the fact that that's one of the issues which I had to deal with, was the hurt, the anger, the bitterness. And so it was at that time I just came into a place of I was at a place of faith, true faith of the Lord, and it was trying to operate in a Christian way, which, as we know, doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and so that did help, but at the same time I was still fighting my flesh, fighting self, and having to really think about, as what Daniel was saying, the best for my children, and not think what's best for my emotions, and being at war. And so I think in the grand scheme of things, it was being able to do as Daniel said, but not necessarily realizing it so much until now. And I could see that it was a process during that, as I was in the faith, that God was taking me through, And so I think that's kind of how I coped, whether you could call that subconsciously, or consciously, I don't know, but that's how I did cope, to be fair. And with the fact that I was at I had to have faith, and so I spent a lot of the time with the Lord, praying to the Lord, and looking at things from scripturally, doing things as Jesus has commanded, and having faith that things will all work out, and going in by the teachings of the Word, and seeing the results of going by the teachings of Jesus Christ, and seeing the results of that. And that was very difficult itself, because your flesh doesn't want to do what the teachings of Christ says to do. You want to do what you want to do, but it's being able to nail that, as Jesus nailed that to the cross, or put that to one side and do the right thing, and seeing the results of that. So I think, yeah, as a whole, in a nutshell, in regards to your question, that's how I kind of coped as a whole.
Thank you so much. John, same question. How did you get on with co-parenting? Or what are your challenges, that you had, that you faced?
Yeah, I think for me, the main thing is that it was really difficult. I think it's the one thing that men don't talk about. Um, you're just kind of brought into this situation, and you are trying different strategies. I think one of the best things that I did was I went to other people. And when you go on this journey, you meet a lot of people who will, uh, some will try and help you, advise you and things, and some who haven't got a clue and who've got an opinion. And sometimes that might not help you. Um, so um, I was a little bit naive, so I did go to a lot of my peers, other friends who might have gone through divorce and separation. And one of the things that I think I started early on was reading quite a lot of different books about parenting, divorce, things like that. And um, even though that journey was difficult, looking back on it, it seems like common sense now, but at that time it certainly wasn't. So you have to learn to compromise. I think the biggest word that I learned through all of this, through the divorce, in the middle of the divorce, and at the end of the divorce, is having that humbleness to be able to compromise and keep adapting. Um, I think if I hadn't been for, so I was married for 20 years, and 7 years after the sort of darker days, my partner didn't want me to have any time with the children because of her own reasons, not for the sake of the kids. They were quite young. Um, so I had no choice. I had to accept it. And, um, but you have to be mindful of yourself, your language, your demeanor, and what you say to the kids. And part of co-parenting, I think, is learning how to walk that tightrope. You have to be able to let go of your ego and, um, have a lot of things about their ego. But, some of us are quite um, honest, humble, and straightforward. And sometimes even that doesn't help. That can inflame things. So you have to go with the flow. And so when I could, I was able to still be in the children's lives. I used to see them Mondays and Fridays. One of the kids would come, the other one wouldn't come, especially because they were a little bit older and teenager. And, I think the important thing that I was told and taught was they are young, independent, and respect their views as well. So you have to sort of let them get on with it. And even after 7 years, My daughter is 21 now, and my son is 18, and they are older and wiser. And so, even though I don't get a chance to see or talk to them, I do still make the effort. And that's really important, that you don't just give up. And, I think the biggest strategy is faith is what got me through the ins and outs and doing multiple different courses. And when I finally went on a course with other like-minded men at the beginning and then on other courses, I found that network was quite useful, and you learned much more from other people who had just maybe finished it. So you can talk to them and get ideas. And all of the things might not work for you, but you try one or two things and something will work. And the biggest takeaway was learning to compromise as part of co-parenting. Thank you.
Thank you. That is a brilliant answer. Thank you so much for all of you answering here. Now, during the Christmas, I don't know, any of you did see that about this single father. And they were well known. The family is well known through social services. On Christmas Day, the father had a heart attack and the child was in the house. People heard him crying, but nobody knocked the door, which was a really sad story. So my question to you, as single fathers, co-parents, what system do you have in place just in case you've got your children with you at that time, at that moment, that you can call? What system have you got in place for anything like that may happen, or you did have in place? Lushen.
Oh, okay, so very good point you've made. Yes, I remember that article on the news, and wow. Okay, in regards to this, it's that's a good question. Because just the other day, to be fair, I was just thinking that my son, my daughter knows her mother's mobile number off by heart. I realised she doesn't know mine. And then not at the same time, my son, who's younger, he's 6. He was thinking he doesn't know a contact number, and I'm not sure if he knows the address. Now, by the grace of God, he's an intelligent child, and I realise he's got a very good memory. So that was crossed my mind. I'm going to have to instill that into him. Our contact numbers, his mum. I think, to be fair, he knows his mum's off by heart. He doesn't know mine. I suppose, even though it's not very helpful if I'm the one that's in trouble and he has my number and he has my phone number, but I think you get my point. My point is that they know contact numbers and details of family members that they can reach out to, because it's tantamount. So in regards to having measurements in place, I don't have those measurements in place. It was something which was thought of just the other day, and to be fair, I didn't even think about it to that depth. In regards to if something happened to me inside the home, it was more in regards to if something had ever happened to them, So it's a very good point that you put across. So in a nutshell, your answer is I haven't put any measurements in place, and I think it's something. It's something that we really do take for granted. We think we're always going to be okay. And it was a perfect example that wasn't the case, as you said, with that article which came up in the news. So you've got me there, but it's opened my mind there, made me aware of something which I really need to put certain measures in place ASAP.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that answer. Come on, let's get some energy going. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
That was good. And that was a really good answer. That's a good food for thoughts for any men out there, families, to think of that. Daniel, what kind of safety measurements have you got put in place?
Again, it's like one of those things you don't really think about as such. It's like I mean, like my daughter's 17. So, you know, when she was younger, it would be like, you know, if anything happens to me, you can call uh auntie or your nana or your mother or yeah. And I always showed her how to do that if anything happens. And um so yeah, it's not really anything that we've talked to. And now she's 17, so she knows exactly what to do, and it's fine. But with regards to like maybe a generic support system as a man, for I think the ability to speak with friends and family, I think that's a really important, you know, to make sure the relationship is good with all members of the family. So whether it's my mum and in other words her nana or my sister, it's just to make sure that there's that cohesive unit, that everyone gets on very well, and they, you know, my daughter feels able to speak to anyone that she needs to. And if that's the case, then I know, you know, she could, and even there's certain things that she will be able to speak with my sister, for example, that she couldn't tell me. Yeah, so as long as she feels comfortable to be able to have that communication with my sister or a woman, because obviously there's certain things that, you know, and especially, you know, she's a teenager, she's a growing woman. There's certain things she would not feel comfortable talking with me to. So yeah, just to make sure that that's in place.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. You know, that is really fantastic. It's a good question. So, and I love what you said about making sure that, you know, the child have that access to all the family, that they can go there and speak to them. So please, some of you parents out there, make sure you put that safety in place. John, please.
Yeah, it's a really difficult question. And especially since most of the time I was in a restaurant or cinemas and things like that. But I was sort of looking at this quite differently, and that would be because I used to work in a school. I would try and think backwards of maybe one, two, or three different strategies. So one would be having a talk with the kids, and obviously sometimes that might not be easy or feasible because that might affect them. Number two would be writing down contact numbers of some of those people, especially the key people in case of an emergency. So I had learned about ICE, which is in case of emergency. So you can put down people in your phone with the word ICE next to it, and if you have an accident or something, if the police or ambulance people pick up the phone and it's not locked, then they look for ICE on the contact, and that's how they would contact that person. And little black book, and think of, you know, that story of that guy was tragic, you know, and even if you had different situations or permutations, it really is, I suppose, people who are nearby or next door neighbors that you let know. And I think on the journey that I've been on, sometimes we as fathers don't know who to trust. And sometimes you might trust that person next door who could be calling the police at random times on behalf of your ex-partner because of something they heard and things. So, you know, and that poor child was very young. And, you know, if the government, the council, and those type of people don't care about him, who else is meant to? And who else is going to? You know, because you can tell people in the church, or in case of emergency, do just keep an eye, because I might have the kid during this time or during these days. So, you know, it's a really difficult situation. But, you know, the third thing is have strategies or backups, you know, if something happens, you know, and then, you know, try and teach that youngster what could happen, what might happen, and then have a plan of what would you do. And, you know, it's really difficult, but it's sort of rebuilding that for yourself depending on the circumstances. That's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. So you guys have done amazing. Thank you so much. I've got another question, and I know as a single parent, I kind of struggle with that. So how do you balance work, children, and finance? What was your struggles in those journey? Lushen.
Oh, yeah, it's casting my mind back. Because things are not so bad at the moment. They're pretty good just due to circumstances, how I work and where I work, the length of time I work, and their mother also. But at the beginning, it was kind of, yeah, it was difficult due to the fact that, you know, we live in a fast-paced world. And, you know, you get up at 6, come back past 6, rushing about. So it was having to pick the children up. It was basically it was working alongside their mum and having an understanding. And by the grace of God, we both got parents, and their parents both live local as well, and so that helped. So worst case scenario, if we were both caught up, then we could reach out to one of the parents who would go and do the school run if needed. So God, there's so much of this, so much there in regards to this question. So at the start, it was a case of, it was kind of hectic because, you know, I suppose every mother would know this as well. We'll relate to this. I suppose it's more of a mother's thing, that having to rush about to pick up the children after when you've got work. So it's having to leave work early, worst case scenarios, or have an arrangement put in place, you know, so you can come and get the kids. So that was the main issue. But overall, things kind of were actually quite easy for myself. I think that's why I'm finding it kind of difficult, because I've experienced kind of both sides of the fence, but more so the easier side, because my kind of work for me kind of went, I was doing more stuff from home, and their mother was working. She works with special needs children for 3 days. So, and that was outside. So she'll basically be within the area, you know, she'll be working with 2 special needs people. And on the Thursday and the Friday, she'll be working within the school. So the Thursdays and Fridays, I was actually available to pick up the kids anyway. And so, seemed like I'm all over the place with this question. And the reason being is because, as I just said, it was kind of easy for myself. And not only that, so much has went on in that period as well. It's been 6 years. And we kind of just, it just kind of worked. Getting in a nutshell, to kind of iron it all out, what it is that I had my mother, yeah, and I've got brothers and sisters. Then on their mother's side, she's got her mum and dad. So it was spread evenly. So really, it wasn't too much of an issue when push came to the shove. Catch the drift. And from here onwards, in his later season, my time is a lot more free, and so I don't necessarily have that issue or that burden of really being caught up due to the way the world is and having to rush about and to pick up the kids and have bits and pieces. We're kind of free flowing. And that's the best I can answer that question.
What about the financial side of it? You know.
Oh, the financial side. Sorry. The financial side. Sorry, the financial side. I have to say it's been great in regards to the children's mum, because I've got other family, not a family, there's people that I've known. You hear stories. I've got friends and that, and they have what you hear financially, the fights that people have going to court and this and that, and having to pay this child this and that, and it becomes just a big war. But in regards to myself, due to how the children's mum was very understanding, and we could just bounce off of each other. So financially, it wasn't a case where she wanted a lump sum of money from me. You know, well, she did at first. But when we came to a mutual understanding, and the case was what, so basically we just bounce off of each other. If I have, good. If I haven't, then she will make a way, and vice versa. We just bounce off each other that way, and it's just basically as you would do within a relationship. So in that aspect, I'm blessed.
Thank you. Wow, thank you so much. Awesome. Thank you. What about you, John? You know, how did you balance work with the children, the school run, and the financial side of it, John?
Yeah, so that's always challenging because you have the help and income from two different people, then suddenly you're just one. And if that hasn't been kind of discussed or, taken into account by both parties, and that's kind of why I was talking about the compromise, because sometimes the other party might not agree completely to anything. And, you're just left to manage by yourself. So one good thing is that I didn't have to sort of do much else, because she wouldn't give me much time with the children anyway. So on the 2 days that I did, I had to just manage with the limited resources. So taking the kids to the park, to cinema, restaurants. It's all sort of lower cost ways of doing it, instead of just buying them expensive things and trying to bribe them. So you just have to kind of adapt, and the other party is in the family home. So, as much as possible, they were trying to sort of get on. So whatever had happened, I just had to adapt to it and work through that. And it's again compromises, I suppose. So that's it for me.
Thank you. That's fantastic. Thank you. What about you, Daniel? How did you?
Yeah, for me, it was quite easy, to be honest with you, because we had that good relationship. And again, when you have a good relationship with your ex-partner, everything becomes easier. But when you don't, it's a lot harder. People aren't as compromising, it's completely different. So, I was running my own business at the time, and I would also structure my work around, my daughter, and, if my ex needed any assistance or needed me to pick up Leia from my daughter from school or anything, or she needed to travel somewhere, it was all pretty easy. I'd just say agree to it. And then if I needed some help, she would agree as well. And there was never really an issue as such. I guess if it was, if we didn't have that good relationship, it definitely would have been harder. But I basically structure, and even like at my workplace as well, I remember I would say to my colleagues, work colleagues, and check that to see, could they handle the work, could they be okay with it, and they'll say, yeah, fine, just go, it's cool. Yeah. So, and it'll be vice versa for me to them as well. So if they needed my assist, it'll be the same. So yeah, it was just really, it really wasn't that difficult as such. And finances, again, that was an issue at first. It was a bit of a challenge just to get things sorted. But again, once I had let go of any anger, let go of any pain, then she was a lot more compromising, and vice versa, and it all sort of connected and worked out really well. And now, I was paying X amount child support, yeah, and then I went for a phase where I wasn't earning as much, and she said, look, don't worry about it, it's cool. But I know once I start to get that up and running again, then I'm just going to pay everything back and more. And for me, if there's anything she needs, even goes beyond my daughter, I would give it to her, and it doesn't matter, because for me, as far as I'm concerned, she's the mother of my daughter. We had we've healed, and yeah, I want to do as much as possible to make both their lives easier.
Thank you so much for those answers. Before we bring our special guest, Dr. Patricia Rogers, I got one question. It's burning in my heart that I want to ask you guys. It's regarding about dating. So, how do you get a suitable mate, for yourself? Bear in mind with your children. So, quick answer. This is literally about 1 minute, because we want to hear from Dr. Patricia Rogers, her side of it, and all right? So, come on, guys. Right. John, I'm going to start with you. 1 minute. So
there's me thinking that I can wait to hear what the other people are going to say. And then you're asking me. I say, I'm actually not even thinking about it. So, I'm waiting for, I don't know what it is. Something, nothing, I don't know. And the last thing I want is to get back into something which could be absolutely dangerous for me. And you have to make that decision and choice with the limited scope that you have. So I think the more important thing, the question you need to ask is, but men heal differently, maybe from ladies. And I've heard many ladies who talk about getting back on the saddle. But obviously there's the other type of men who will go straight back in. But we're not talking about that, because we are the more honorable sort of men who are trying to be in the children's lives and know how difficult it is for them to navigate when you have another partner. So I don't know. I haven't even thought about it. I'm not thinking about anything in the near future. Let's just see how things go. So that's my answer.
Thank you. That is brilliant. Thank you so much. That's really good. What about you, Daniel?
Can we remind the question again? About getting connection.
Choosing a suitable mate, dating. Let's put it this way, dating. Have you thought about it?
Well, I have a girlfriend at the moment, and she gets on very well with my daughter. And for me, it's really just the chemistry and the connection. And I think you have certain values, and you tend to attract similar people. So if you're a kind-hearted person, you're generous, and you attract a similar person. And I've always been lucky in that respect. My daughter loves my girlfriend, my girlfriend loves my daughter, and it's just worked out. So whether there's a specific formula, I don't know. I don't know. I just go with my heart. I go with the chemistry, how I feel, and I always try to see the best in someone. and then see what happens from there.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, that's a great answer. Lushen.
All right, yeah, so I think it's more of a simple question if you don't have children. I think it becomes a whole different ballgame when you've got children. And depending on your, as I say, your moral compass a bit strong. I don't know, maybe moral strong compass may be a bit strong. And obviously depend on the age of your kids. So some of the things that John mentioned, I think that he touched on, and one of them being introducing children, basically men as well, men healing differently. So what I've noticed as well, it's usually men take a very, very long time after they've been kind of burnt in a relationship to find anybody else. You might find it extreme. You might know of a few men that might have straight away they've met somebody else, but they're just trying to hide their pain, basically. But as a whole, you see men take a very long time, and I've noticed that with myself. It's taken a lot of time to kind of step up and kind of, I don't know if it's got to build trust again, or I think it's just the way men heal, you know, and I think men just happy just to be on their own. I'm sorry, it's the truth. for a little while and be able to think for themselves, you know, got to think for themselves, having to think for others, if that makes sense. Just, you know, men just need time just to shut away and think. But I think as well, the situation I had, because there was a longing. I've noticed there's been a bit of a longing, obviously, to have a wife. It's natural, but then there came the issue of children as well. My children are only young. I don't really, me personally, I'm not comfortable with having a partner around my children so young. Maybe different if they was older, but so young. It's like I see it as a replacement for their mum. Not that they are, she would be a replacement, but it just doesn't sit right with me. More to the point of your question is the fact that I had to choose. I would say, looking back, the day and age that we live in and what I've seen, especially in my circle of friends and people that I've known growing up, I think in the Western world, I think what we do is done basically the backward way. Then you meet people and you don't get to know them. It's as simple as that. You don't spend a year getting to know the person. You don't know somebody after it takes a year, 2 years to know someone. But what we kind of do, it's all based on lust. You end up sleeping with the person, you get attached. You know, you wake up, you see him 2 years later, you've got a child and a couple of children, you're together, you've moved in, but you don't know each other. You're attached now because you've been sexually together. So you're connected in a very strong way. And you find out you both don't like each other, not compatible, but you're stuck because you're connected on this emotionally, on a sexual level. And so looking at it that way, and then obviously you break up, it just tears everything apart. So looking at how the world does things, which is completely back to front for what I can gather, I would do it the complete opposite way and get to know somebody, meet somebody, get to know them, don't get physical in any shape or form, and just, you know, the old traditional way. And then bit by bit, and I'll be straight, take it even deeper. I would stand on God and pray to the Lord, and, you know, to send me the right partner and listen to what the Lord has to say. But overall, I would do it the traditional way, take my time, get to know the person properly and secure a friendship, know everything about that person, and let it work out from there. And that's how we'll go about things moving forward.
Thank you so much. Those are fabulous answers to some questions. Thank you. Now we're coming to our special guest, Dr. Patricia Rogers, who is going to sum up everything that the Three Kings has shared with us. Now, Daniel, would you kindly introduce our special guest today?
Yes, with pleasure. Hi, Patricia. So Dr. Patricia Rogers is a retired corrections lieutenant with 29 years of service in law enforcement, a 12-year veteran in the US Army and a graduate of St. Thomas University. She's a visibility strategist.
Smart.
And an award-winning international public speaker, an international best-selling author, business consultant, and she also hosts a virtual event and organizes. She created a foundational company called Unity in Service Inc., which is committed to creating speaking opportunities for business owners worldwide and takes pride in its effort to support the global business community. Patricia, welcome very much to the Father's Talk Show. Please.
Awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
congratulations. Yeah,
Welcome.
totally awesome.
Please tell us why you're here.
Oh, wow. Okay, can you all hear me? Okay, first and foremost, let's make sure
Yep.
the sound is right.
We can.
Whoop,
Yep.
whoop, whoop, whoop.
And,
Yes. I guess you all to begin with, I hope that you all heard my credentials, because I have a couple of single men here on this platform, and that lets you know all about me and know that I am available. That's a joke. Don't take it seriously. Don't take it seriously. I couldn't help.
There's no such thing as a joke.
Listen, I couldn't help but go there, because that was not part of my script. But you guys set the tone. Y'all set the tone, because you hit on some major themes. Definitely. I love the questions that you asked, Dr. Margaret. Those were awesome questions, and I love all the responses. And I kept wondering, how am I going to bring this thing together? Well, I said, because I'm not a man, but you know what? I can certainly say I can relate to the single parent, the system as it relates to single parenting, because in most cases, children the mother does take over. In most cases, she's left with the children. And the first thing I want to tap is about the statistics that I learned, and just dealing with Margaret and on this subject. Statistically, according to the data that I read from the United States Census Bureau, there are about 2.18 million single fathers in the United States. And that was based back in that statistic was around 2020. And I didn't know that. I never even thought about it, because it's just customary, according to society, the way what we see is that women normally take care of the children. So I'm really alarmed today just to hear you guys. I'm not even gonna say guys, you kings, on this platform. You all have raised the bar for me. And I want to congratulate you personally, because that's not always the case. You all have some awesome stories, and my story is a little bit different. I raised 2 children on my own, and I didn't get a dime of child support. So what do? I pat myself on the back, but I pat you all on the back more so because you took on the challenge, and most of all, you realized the need, because children do need to be in a loving home, whether it's 2 parents there or not, because sometimes we all know that those 2 parents in the home, the place can be it's even more tumultuous than, by a single parent. But I can relate to a lot of things that you all said. And again, I congratulate you today for saying yes to this call. I'm excited to be here. And I really admire y'all transparency. Come on, give yourself some energy. Come on. Because a lot of people will not be honest, especially when you know that you're going to be recorded. How about that? So I want to say kudos to you for that. And the first question she talked about was co-parenting. And when Daniel spoke, I heard Daniel say something. What I heard was expectations. He went in expecting this relationship, we're going to reciprocate whatever we're putting out. This is what it's going to be. But life throws us curveballs. But I admire you because you stood the test of time. You went through the challenge, and that's a bonus. And then we had Lushen talked about what I heard you talk about, co-parenting. I heard you said something about denying yourself. And that's powerful, because we have to deny ourselves. And a lot of times, parents, relationships, because a lot of people are having babies out of wedlock. Y'all know how that goes nowadays. The young people are just, they go together, get together. they make the baby, and then they live together. And when it don't go right, guess what they do? Nowadays, they just say, let me just shoot you and you gone. And then the father's off to prison, the mother off to prison, whichever one, and the children are left with no one to take care of them. So we use our children sometimes as pawns, you know, and I heard that word ego. I'm not sure who used that word ego, but somebody used that word ego. And that's exactly what I think. Sometimes the ego gets in the way. And then we, in relationships, we find ourselves using the children to punish one another. And that is definitely not a safe environment for the children. And so I'm just telling you guys have really rocked and rolled this conversation and these questions today, you know, because it's real, and people need to hear this video. I know I'm going to share it out because, and I hope I know that it'll fall on the right ears, but you all need to be, they need to listen to this because I'm sure that this is a subject that's not often talked about. And like Margaret said, we've made history today because this is Valentine's Day, and you all are our three kings for today. And Margaret, I've been hosting events now online since the pandemic. I've hosted over 50 some odd events, and I have to say kudos to you because you're right. No one that I've seen they've done something for women, but I have not seen this. So I'm so happy and grateful to be a part of it. And then when John spoke about the co-parenting, he talked about identifying, you know, and he talked about a little bit about having a support system. And he used that word flexible. Flexibility is very, very, very essential, in my own opinion, in any relationship, whether it's male, female, son, daughter, whatever it is. We have to be flexible because no two people are the same. And I know the clock is ticking, but y'all got me fired up right now. And I'm okay with that because at the end of the day, I want to share a little bit of my story. I had a lot of things to talk about, but I want to hit this right here. I'm going to make y'all laugh now. Being a single mother, one thing a mother cannot do, and that is I cannot teach my son to be a man. And when we're women, and you all talked about it too, when she asked that question about how do you balance the, the work life? How do you balance that? Well, that was my challenge. I worked up to 72 hours beyond the 40 hours of pay period, 56 hours, extra 40, whatever it took, because the overtime was rampant. And it was good. I had a good week. I had making good money, and I had 2 kids to raise by myself. So I wanted to give them the best of everything because that's what we do. I didn't have it, so I'm gonna make sure they have it. Is it always the right thing, the way we look at it? But that's just the way we think, because we don't want them to go through what we went through with. So I worked a lot of overtime, had a good life. They had everything that they needed and still get what they needed, And one day, me and my son was sitting down, me and my son and my daughter every now and then. That's one thing I do want to say. We have to take those moments to have that effective communication. And if we don't stop and sit the children down and find out where their heads are, and that's something that work prevents us from doing, and the different responsibilities that we have as a parent, it stops us from doing that. And we don't think that it's really, really important, but it really is. And I heard, I think it was Daniel, somebody goes, they'll find themselves going to other parents when we really, really, really should have them coming to us because we need to know. We have a right to know. But at any rate, so my son and my daughter and I, we were sitting down talking one day. So I said, so we were just kind of airing out some things, just talking, chit chat. My son brought up the fact. He said, well, Mom, he's 30-something years old now. My daughter's 41 or 42. He says, Mom, he said, you didn't nurture me. You didn't nurture me. I said, I didn't nurture you. Now here, I just told y'all I did all these hours of overtime. They always had what they wanted. Went to private school. I did everything I thought I was supposed to do as a mother, which I did. It was correct. But to hear him tell me that at 30 years old, you telling me now that I didn't nurture you? First of all, I didn't know what that word nurture meant at that time because I didn't use that word. But then I used my own terminology. I said, you telling me that I didn't nurture you? He said, yeah, Mom, you really wasn't there a lot of times because you was working all the time. I said, well, let me ask you this about nurture. What did you want me to do? Keep you on my breast till you 40 years old? So, I'm like, so we got a good laugh out of that, and I tell when we sit at the dinner table with my relatives, I tell them that story and they all crack up because we have all can relate to the things that the children feel and go through and whatever. And when we are older, we cannot turn back the hands of time. I cannot turn back the hands of time, but if I could, I would relinquish the overtime that I put in. That's if I knew then what I knew now. On the other hand, I'm going in because there's a paradox to this thing. I don't regret 1 minute of the overtime that I put in because they're gone. Technically, they're grown, they're doing their thing. And now I'm in my retirement and I'm living my best life. And had I not done that overtime, based on the highest 5 years of my 29 years, honey, I wouldn't be where I am today financially. So it's a little bit of regret, but at the end of the day, since I get the last call and I'm on my final stage of my life, I ain't got no regrets. Everything was done just the way it was supposed to be. Christianity is the last thing I want to hit on. I'm sorry, spirituality. You got to have a power greater than yourself. Whoever could be a doorknob, I don't care what it is, but it has to be a power greater than you, greater than me, that we can believe in, because that's where we're going to get our strength from. And we talked about those support systems. I heard the church come up. Basically, church was my family. They helped raise me. Back in the day, that was when the parents would take kids home with them, different ones of them. I was the last of 8, so that was, parents had a lot of kids, different ones. They worked together as a unit, and community as it relates to support systems, church, communities are definitely, we know the school is a babysitter. We don't even have to talk about that. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, we all need love. We all need to be heard. And even with my daughter, she's here with me now, 40 years old, 41 or 42, one or two. She's out the door going to work, crazy hours. I'm sitting at this computer all day long, 8 hours a day. I can sit here because this is what I do. This is what makes me happy. But I know I'm bringing in money too in my business. And I just love people. And that's why I host those events, because I love to see people succeed. But even in this, my daughter's with me. And sometimes I'm thinking, you haven't talked to her today. She'll come in, and I'm at this computer. She'll come over and kiss me on the cheek, and I'm so busy. And sometimes I have to catch myself. And I get away, spin away from this chair, and I say, how you doing? I say, give me a bigger hug than that. Because we get so engrossed into what we're doing. But I don't care how old we are, we need love. So I have to think to myself, sometimes I get out of my room and go in her room. How do you feel? Give me a hug. Because I can't make up for what I didn't do, but I can certainly take it from here one day at a time and make it better. And this is what it's all about. I live for my children, the legacy. We didn't tap on the legacy. That's the last thing I'm going to type on, the legacy. We have to leave a legacy for our children. And again, I commend you all, because it sounds like to me, you all have done your job. You have stood the test of time. And I certainly have been inspired today by you all. And again, I am available. My name is Dr. Patricia Rogers, Visibility Strategist, and I am the CEO of Unity in Service, where people need people. That was a joke.
Thank you. That is awesome. Thank you, Dr. Patricia Rogers, taking the time and spending it with our fathers. Thank you so much. And your words of wisdom, the unique words you have spoken. Thank you. I appreciate you. To all the 3 kings that says yes today to this schooling, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support. Thank you. Come on, guys. I want to say thank you. I want to celebrate you.
Awesome. Come on. Wave your hand in the air.
Hey.
Wave your hand like you just don't care.
So we so we just really want to celebrate you. Thank you so much. And I want to say thank you to all our viewers out there. Really appreciate you, because you are all kings. We have talked and we have shared, and we understand what you're going through. So we just want to simply say there is support out there, and don't be afraid to ask for that support. Now, I'm just going to ask each individual one of you here, if somebody wants to work with you, wants to reach out with you, how can they reach out to you? Dr. Patricia Rogers, please, how can our fathers, if they want to work with you, I'm sure there are fathers out there who've got businesses who needs kind of spotlight into their business. Can you just share something?
Or who want a date?
Oh, oh yeah.
Okay, all right. So you hear Daniel trying to stir up some stuff. He got his woman. Now he trying to push y'all over the ledge. Don't fall for it. But at any rate, thank you so much. Okay, so yes, I do host virtual events as a gift for you guys being here today. I would really like to invite you all to come to our upcoming event on February the 23rd. I am going to gift you a complimentary ticket because, and I'm gonna say this, we have very few men on our platforms today in society. Y'all know it. In some of the events that we host. So you all would definitely be our special guests, and we would definitely be asking you to introduce yourself. And then we were going to certainly let them know that we met you through Margaret Thorley, because she will be a speaker at this event. So we talk about support for our children, where we need support too for our efforts that we're putting out in life. And so I'm going to have her, and I will gift you all a complimentary ticket. It'll be on the 23rd from 1 to 5 p.m. So if you can just come for a little time and just stick your head in right at the beginning, you can leave and just close your camera and leave. If you have to do something else, but we would love for you to break the ice with us, show up and come and just join us at our event. And we will be sending you a virtual background. And as for speaking, I would also love at some point maybe to reach out to you. I think she's having her very first virtual event, and I'm sure she'll be reaching out to you all with the information, the details. And I'm certainly asking you all to support her, because setting a platform for people to speak, be heard, everybody needs to hear your message. So with that, and her event is going to be Love and Relationships in the 21st Century. So it's not just about man and female. What is your passion? I'm in love with my business. I've never been so happy in my life. So I'm just saying, so it's not just male and female. It's whatever your passion is. And that's what we have. And my calendar link is at the bottom of this, my video here. Got to correct it. It's here. So if anybody want to reach out to me to be a speaker at our future events, July, we have October, we have March, all of those months coming up. They can schedule on my calendar link at calendly.com, Pat Rogers, and that would be /chat. Let's chat, and I'll fix that. Thank you so much for allowing me that opportunity, Mark.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Rogers. Thank you. What about you, Daniel? I mean, I know you do some amazing work with the men already. How can they reach you?
Yeah, so if someone wants to talk a little bit more about letting go, whether it's letting go around the relationship or business or anything, finance, health, then they can contact me on clearthepath.co.uk. Where email is danield@clearthepath.co.uk.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. What about you, John? I know you do social media. So please, if somebody wants to reach you, how could you help them? Or even just to talk to you? How?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and YouTube. The Instagram ID is John Varghese, all one word, UK, #1. With over 25 years experience in media, video, content creation, training videos, anything like that. If you want to reach out to me, I'm sort of working with other charities at the moment. So if you've got a project in mind and need some advice, then please reach out. Can't get the details, so you can reach out to Margaret. She's the connector in between. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Lushen, what about you? You did this amazing, background. All the background that you've seen right now is created by Lushen. Amazing. Let's just give him a hand upload. Did some amazing work, So how could they reach you? Because you've got so much gift, and I say to you, you got eye for color. So if they want to reach you, how could they reach you?
Okay, I have a website which is on www.throneroom, which is THRONE, Throne Room Designs, which is DESIGNZ.co.uk. Also, I'm on Instagram on Throne Room Designs. So if anybody's looking for anything print-based or digital work, especially those that are setting up businesses and they want small websites, business cards, branding, anything like that, anything graphical, as I said, digital or print-based, feel free to hit me up. My email as well is create, which is CR8 at Throne Room Designs, as designs with a Z.co.uk. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much as we're coming towards the end of the Father Talk Show, Kings in the Conversation. I want to take this amazing opportunity to say to our special guest, Dr. Patricia Rogers, thank you so much for honoring and being here with us. Let's say thank you. And I want to say thank you to John to being here for us as well. Come and share his journey, his story. Come on, let's honor him. Thank you, thank you. Come on, guys. This is today. We've made history.
You made history.
We made history. And I want to say thank you to you as well, Lushen, for the time and the great work that you have put supporting.
Come on, come on, come on.
Come on, let's say
Come on, wave your hand in the air like you just don't care.
Grateful
and obviously, my co-host Daniel, I want to say a special thank you. You have been alongside with me, running with me from the time I shared the dream, the journey. You just say yes, and you've been here since. And I want to say thank you. And to, of course, to all our viewers out there, the kings all out there, I want to say thank you so much. We appreciate you. And we look forward to seeing you soon. And yes, we need some men speakers. You can reach us at the Father Talk Show in Facebook, margaretfoley.com. You can reach us on the website, which is Let's Change Your Life with Margaret Foley. And there are some amazing training and videos there as well, the work that we've been doing. I want to say thank you so much. God bless you all. And I hope to see you soon.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow. We can all relax.